In episode 4, Jordan's claims are completely diminished by most of the right-wing media. They just don't buy it. It also doesn't help with the fact that Kate denies it as well. She goes to social media and says, I was attacked by starlighters. It's that simple. So nobody really buys Jordan's statement, and on top of it now, Jordan is vilified. Everybody's going after her. Both Jordan and Marie are summoned to Cipher's office to have a talk about what they're going to do about Jordan's whole impromptu changing of her speech. And as they're waiting outside because Cipher's in there with somebody else, Jordan is really frustrated. Marie is trying to make her feel better. But then they hear Cipher scream and Kate walks out. So they know that Cipher was pissed off with Kate about something. And Kate looks dejected. But when they walk into Cipher's office, they're met not just by Cipher, but by the marketing guy from Vought, Seth Reed. They're pretty confused on why the marketing guy is there, but then he starts pitching them on a fight. Jordan Lee, being the number one top dog at Godalkin, versus Marie Monroe. They'd sell this thing on pay-per-views. The marketing is off the charts. They're calling it the Gender Bender versus the Blood Bender. There's only one problem. Jordan and Marie have no interest in fighting each other. I mean, they're very adamant about that, but Cipher's very adamant about the fact that they don't have a choice. He tells both girls the public wants red meat. They want Jordan to get their ass kicked, so that's what you're going to do. And Marie says, I couldn't kick Jordan's ass if I tried, because Marie still doesn't believe that she's powerful enough to do so. But Cipher says, oh, you can and you will. And when there's even more pushback from both Jordan and Marie because they don't want to fight each other, Cipher threatens Emma, throwing her back into Elmira. And that's something that Jordan isn't willing to risk, so she's the first one to give in, and slowly Marie gives in as well. They both are going to go through this pay-per-view fight. When they get back to the dorms and they tell Emma about this, she's pissed off. I mean, it's great that she's not going to Elmira, but as she points out, anytime Cipher wants us to do anything, he's just going to pull this Elmira card. I mean, what point does it stop? But that's when Marie comes up with an idea, and it's to bring Kate in on their plan. Emma wants no parts of Kate. She doesn't trust her. But as Marie points out, if Kate can use her powers on Cipher, then we can control this situation. I mean, not only could we get him to stop the fight, but we can also get in his head to figure out what exactly he's doing and what he wants. Both Jordan and Emma are very hesitant to agree to this, and Marie admits, yeah, it's a desperate idea, but it's the only idea they have. So Jordan and Marie go to Kate's dorm. They knock on the door. It's not pleasant at first, but Marie point blank tells her, we know that you don't like Cipher, so you should hear us out. And they head inside to have a talk. Once they get inside, it's still tense between Kate and Jordan. I mean, they're not seeing eye to eye at all. Marie is really doing a lot of this pitch. But Kate tells him, I haven't read his mind. I mean, I can't get a read on this guy at all. It's weird. Kate, though, does have an idea, and that is to find some dirt on Cipher to possibly stop the fight because she knows he's hiding something in his house. After all, he's got a vault. And Marie says, this is actually perfect because I have to go train with the guy. So while I'm training with him, you guys can get inside his house and find out what he's hiding. So a little while later, both Jordan and Kate head to stake out Cipher's place. As they're doing so, they're bickering, they're arguing, but eventually they come around to reminding themselves that they used to actually be friends. And once they see Cipher leave, they head over to his place. Now, Cipher has security, but Kate tries to use her powers in order to get inside, and it kind of works. The guard does stand down, but he also does so by having sex with a garden gnome. That wasn't exactly Kate's description on what he was supposed to do. So when both Jordan and Kate get inside the house, Kate's forced to admit, my powers have been on the fritz since the incident. And Jordan's pissed off. They feel like Kate should have divulged this information, but as Kate points out, this is all your fault. My powers were fine until you threw me against a wall and forced me to have a head injury. Cooler heads prevail, though. They get back to the task at hand of finding out what is behind that vault, and when they get inside, they see it. There's a hyperbaric chamber with somebody inside whose entire body has been charred up. They start taking pictures of it, but then the guy wakes up, and they have to get the hell out of there. Now, it is worth mentioning that Thomas Godalkin, years earlier, had been trapped inside of a fire. Just throwing it out there. But while that was going on, Marie and Cipher were training. And Cipher's training method in this particular instance was to move a bunch of bags of blood from one table to another. At first, Marie didn't think she could do it without bursting the bags. And yeah, the first time she tries to do it, she does end up bursting the bag. But then Cipher tells her, just feel it. Feel every single molecule, every cell, everything, and you'll be able to do it. And by the way, stop using your hand. That does nothing. And when Marie focuses, she actually is not only able to move one bag of blood, she moves all of the bags of blood from one table to another. So Cipher decides to bump it up a little bit. He brings in a goat named Elon. The idea behind the name is that if you name it after somebody horrible, you don't feel bad if you kill them. And Marie ends up trying to use her powers on this living animal, and she's able to lift Elon up. He's fine, but then Marie notices something about Cipher. She looks over at his neck, and she can tell that he doesn't have any V coursing through his veins. But the lack of focus ends up killing the animal. The trade-off, however, is one that Marie's willing to take. She at least has some information on who Cipher is, and that is someone who's not a soup. Now, while all of that was going on with Marie, Kate, Jordan, Emma headed to her new friend's dorm room to try to figure out how they're going to sabotage something. Emma, Allie, Harper, they're smoking up, and Emma's doing a lot of the talking, saying, look, I'll get big, and, Harper, you can use your powers or anyone's powers for 60 seconds, and then she turns to Allie and says, what are your powers? And Allie's really self-conscious about her powers because she could use her hair as a weapon, but it's not the hair on her head, if you know what I'm saying. But instead of criticizing her, Emma says, wow, that's actually awesome. Okay, we can use that. But then the three of them get interrupted by Greg, Allie's brother, who came in because he wanted the weed that they were smoking. And it turns out Greg and Emma, they know each other from that class that Emma had but wanted to drop. And you can tell from the way that Emma is looking at Greg, she wants that, all of it. Yeah, she finds him attractive. In order to actually sabotage something on campus, though, Emma needs to figure out exactly how Harper is able to use Emma's powers. This is something that Emma's always struggled with. The fact that she needs to basically feel like shit to get small or big for that matter. She can't figure out how Harper is able to do it so easily. And Harper tries to give her a pep talk, thinking that maybe it could be the opposite. Maybe if Emma felt really good about herself, she could figure out how to use her powers without throwing up, of course. And what she tells Emma is, hey, we look up to you. Allie doesn't tell anyone about her powers, but she told you. That's a really big deal. You're out here inspiring us, truly. Unfortunately for Harper, the tactic doesn't really work. Once Kate, Jordan, Emma, and Marie all get back together in the dorms, while most of the school is discussing the gender bender versus the blood bender feud that is going to take place in a day, these four have to discuss what they're going to do about Cipher and what they've all been able to figure out. Kate shows them what they found at Cipher's place, this charred up guy that's still alive. But Marie gives the bombshell, the fact that he doesn't have any compound V flowing through his blood, which means he's not a soup. And right now, Godolkin has an all-soup faculty. So if news got out that Cipher, the dean, wasn't actually a soup, but instead a human, that's a real bad look. Now, they just have to get a way for him to admit it. Marie thinks that it would be easy if Kate just got him to do that, but that's when Kate tells the room, my powers aren't working correctly. We got to think of something else. While they're discussing this, Kate gets a text from Cipher saying, hey, idiot, I've got cameras in my house. You don't think I saw you? We need to meet. And that's when they come up with the plan. Kate is going to have to meet with Cipher, and Cipher's going to want to meet with Kate at the fight. Now, Kate knows that she's going to be searched when she gets into Cipher's suite. But that's where Emma comes in, because she'll get small, she'll sneak into the suite, and she'll bring a very small camera that will record Kate and Cipher's entire conversation. Everybody's a little hesitant on how exactly Emma's going to do this, but she says, don't worry, guys, I have a team, believe it or not. So later, a very nervous Kate heads to Cipher's suite. She is, in fact, searched, and they don't find anything because there's nothing on her. While outside, Emma and her crew, which, by the way, now includes Greg, start working on getting her inside, which is going to be through the water pipe. They go to a maintenance closet, they shut it off so Emma won't drown, and Emma, who at this point is now small, starts making her way through. Unfortunately, though, as Greg is guarding the room, the maintenance guy shows up a little while after Emma started trekking through the pipe. Greg can't exactly hold this guy up. He has to tell both Allie and Harper that the maintenance guy is coming because they're still in the room and they're forced to hide. And shortly after the maintenance guy arrives in the room, he realizes that the pipe was shut off. So he turns it back on, which starts flooding the pipe, and Emma starts going for a swim. This is where Allie's power, though, comes in handy. I mean, she just drops her pants and uses her hair to weave around the valve and shut it off, likely saving Emma's life, at least delaying it enough so that she could arrive in Cipher's suite in the toilet. For a little bit of Kate and Cipher's conversation, Kate was just trying to kind of delay and kill time, but eventually she excitedly tells Cipher, "My powers came back," because she wants Cipher thinking, "I can make you do whatever I want if I just touch you." But Cipher doesn't panic. He actually just says, "Oh, what wonderful news." And then he says, "You know what? Put a pin on this conversation. I'm going to go to the bathroom," where Emma is trying desperately to get out of the toilet bowl. And Cipher didn't need to go number one. But luckily for Emma, she is able to escape, and not only escape the toilet, but escape the bathroom and link up with Kate, where she sets up the camera. So now Kate has all she needs to get Cipher to admit on film he is not a soup. When Cipher gets out of the bathroom, though, and Kate starts talking him up, that's when the fight is about to kick off. Up until this point, both Marie and Jordan had been warming up, if you will, in the same locker room. Jordan was a mess. Marie explaining, "Don't worry, this plan will work. We're not actually going to fight. We'll just kill time until Cipher calls it off." But all of that is going to rely on Kate, getting him to admit, "Yeah, I'm just a human." And as most of the crowd is going nuts, and you've got Emma and her crew outside watching the live feed of Cipher's suite, Kate starts going in. She says that not only did her powers come back, but they actually came back stronger than ever, and now she can read people. And then she coyly says, "I just want you to know your secret is safe with me." He plays dumb at first, but she says, "Come on, you're human." And that's when you finally see a little bit of worry in Cipher. He says, "Oh my God, you figured it out." Kate nods and says, "Look, we don't need to tell anybody else. Just call off the fight." Because at this point, you've got both Jordan and Marie circling each other in the octagon, doing nothing, trying to kill time. But instead of call off the fight, Cipher says, "Oh, yeah, okay, do you want to do it at a different angle? I mean, is this angle okay?" Because this whole time, Cipher knew that Kate was trying to catch him in a lie. He knew that she had some recording device, and it doesn't take long before he actually finds it. Kate tries to act like she's not panicked, although she is, and she says, "Well, it doesn't change anything. You don't have any V in your blood." And Cipher laughs and says, "You know, you must have gotten that from Marie." "No, that makes sense." He goes back to watching the fight, and Kate says, "Didn't you hear me? This fight isn't happening. Call it off." But Cipher calls her bluff and says, "Yeah, I think if your powers were back, then none of this would be happening." And then Cipher shows off his powers. Because somehow Cipher is able to take over Jordan's body. Jordan is now like a puppet. And Cipher, through Jordan, starts kicking Marie's ass. But not only that, Cipher makes it known to Marie that he is controlling her. He says that thing about not using her hand. And whether they wanted to or not, now they are in a fight. It gets to the point where Jordan is wailing on Marie so much that Marie uses her new parlor trick that Cipher showed her with Elon. And next thing you know, Jordan is levitating above Marie. Marie is moving Jordan, using the blood in her body. But then it gets dangerous, to the point where Cipher ends up leaving Jordan's body. It's now Jordan back. Jordan is terrified, and Marie just lets her go, dropping to the floor, and Marie has won the fight. But questions still remain on how exactly Cipher was able to do any of this. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry. It'll be up in a day or two.